Sir.
No, it's just.
Great. Thank you.
What's your life?
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the Shamong Township Committee meeting of June 3rd, 2025. Sue, you want to read the sunshine statement, please?
Sure. Please be advised proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act.
We invite you to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Diamond?
Here.
Mr. DeCroce?
Here.
Ms. Pizzitis?
Here.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Here.
Mr. Woods?
Here.
It's nice.
Okay, as we get started, I just want to let you know that there is a class of 2025 eighth grade graduation ceremony, which is going to be June 13th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at the Indian Mills Memorial School. So if anybody's interested in that, maybe somebody here is graduating or has somebody graduating. We're going to start off with opening the meeting for a public comment. If you have any public comment, please come on up, state your name, and you will be heard. Okay, Diane. Good evening.
Diana Antonucci, 2 Stony Creek Court. I wasn't here for the last meeting. I was here the meeting before about Murphy's Pit. I have, I've been keeping track of how often the riders have been there. March, they were there 29 out of 31 days. April was 21 out of 30, and May was 29 out of 31. This past weekend, on Saturday, they were there from 9:30 until 6:45, and Sunday they were there 11:15 till 6:15. And not, they were there for an hour, and then 4 hours later they were there for another hour. No, all day long. And not a little bit of noise. I mean, hear it in the house, windows closed, TV on, constant noise. Called the troopers on Sunday. The troopers can't do anything. They're not allowed to chase them. They can't get back there. There needs to be another solution other than call the troopers, because they just can't do anything. I'm interested to know what's going on with the solar the solar company that wants to buy the property. I don't know where that's going. Sunday, I was able to get video of 2 people in a black Ford pickup on Atson Road loading up one of the dirt bikes. I turned the information over to the troopers. I showed them my video. I don't know what happened with that. Hopefully something will come of it, but I know there are other problems. Apparently Woodgate, if it's as bad as they say, is a huge issue. This is my issue.
Understood. Thank you. We appreciate you coming out again. We did go through last month, and I'll ask Doug to go through it today, an update on the solar field project. And I did hear them out because I hear them as well as you do off the weekend.
Imagine what it is right across the street.
Understood. Yeah.
Thank you.
Doug?
Yeah, so I was going to give a report at my solicitor's report, but I'll jump ahead to it now. I've been asking every month for an update on where things stand. As you can imagine, we're dealing with a utility company and a large solar provider. That process is slow. And so the update this month is they still have pending applications before Atlantic City Electric for community solar on what we call Murphy's Pit, the sand pit, and under a different program for the landfill. That landfill, I think, is basically to sell power back to the grid. The expectation is that by the end of the summer, they'll have their certificates of filing from Pinelands Commission for both of those projects, and that they'll be then in before our planning board seeking approval, site plan approvals for both projects. They have also indicated they would like to have a meeting with Mike and Brian again. If you recall, a number of months ago, we got in and we had Atlantic City Electric representatives join us They were looking for that again, so I asked them to give us some dates. And once I get those, I will circulate that and we'll have probably another Zoom meeting.
Okay, I can set that up. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. And then the last thing I'll just mention is that they apparently have some access to grant funds. It would require cooperation from the municipality. I said, you know, given the township's position on this, I don't think that will be an issue. Just give us the details and tell us what you need. So once I get information from them, or we talk about it during this meeting, we can talk about, you know, what is required on our end. I assume we have to be a co-applicant or something like that to get some grant funds for them to help this community solar project go forward. But as we've talked about, to me, you know, this seems to be our best avenue to curing the ills of Murphy's Pit. And so if we can get a proper reuse and a positive, productive reuse for that project, then I think that's our best avenue.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Anastasia?
Hi, good evening. Anastasia Zakara, 1 Stony Creek Court. Thank you for those updates. That was part of my comment question. Just to reinforce what Diane and others are facing, I know I've been before the committee many times regarding the ongoing problems. They're not issues with Murphy's Pit. I'm beyond the point of what the excuses are. An excuse is not a solution. We must have a solution, and we have presented, my husband, Bill Ryan, and I have both presented to you some solutions, at least one that I know of that I can recant, because at this point, there's the possibility that the solar deal will not go through. That is a possibility. My husband and I seem to believe it will, but the truth of the matter is there is a possibility they may decide to pull out. They may not decide to go through it. Atlantic City Electric may have a plethora of issues. But I want to bring something up to the committee again as it relates to liability, because I love that word. You're a lawyer, so you could appreciate this. Having been put on notice for years now regarding the ongoing problems at the pit, on Sunday, there was a truck parked. So you'll know where it is, Mike. If our house is here, one, we have Diane here, and then there's that house kind of adjacent right here, but their address is on Stowe. They're not a Stony Creek address. There was a pickup truck parked there, and my daughter was in the backyard in the pool, and she said, Mom, some guy parked a truck over there and put some gear on, and now he's headed down what looks like to Atzian. I'm assuming he went in the pit. Well, I didn't see him. I stood around outside. He didn't come back. About 20 minutes later, the truck was still there. I did call the troopers. They said that as soon as they got a moment, which we continually rely on them to come out, they have other pressing issues, waste a resource again. At the end of the day, I went back inside. The truck left and it came back again. Well, when it came back, I took pictures of it, and I'm thinking, well, who is this individual? Because they're not at my house. They're not at Diane's. My daughter saw them going in the pit. We now have spectators coming here because I approached the gentleman as he was walking back from the pit on Stony Creek. I said, is that your truck? He said, yes. I said, well, where do you live? Not here. I said, well, where are you from? He said, Southampton. I said, what are you doing down there? He said, oh, I'm jumping in and riding, and I'm also spectating. That is not a permitted use. I will reiterate, that is not what the property is zoned for. Whether these are good kids, bad kids, or finding their way kids, that is not what the property is zoned for. We are being held hostage. We are being treated like we're doing something wrong. And then I'm getting feedback on other issues that we're taking away freedoms and liberty. What about our freedom and liberty? We chose to live there. It's not a permitted use. You can lean in, no pun, but yes, lean in on the landowner who's an absentee landowner and could give a hoot about what's going on there. They've held all of you, whether it was you before or the committee prior, he's laughing at us, John Casper. It's not keeping him up at night. It's not keeping him from watching his TV shows. It's not allowing him to enjoy his backyard. So this truck was there. The trooper came back. I gave him the pictures, and I don't know where that's going to land. But I do know one thing. Excuses that we are continually met with in this building are not solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll close this portion of the meeting. to public comment and go for items of discussion and possible official action. First is the approval of the minutes for May 6, 2025 regular session meeting.
Anybody have any questions or comments on the minutes?
If not, can we have a
I'll
motion?
make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next is the 2025 budget adoption. First is a resolution of the 25-25 R-58 budget amendment, which everyone has been given a copy of. Are there any
Yeah.
questions or comments on
This
that?
year was a year that the state reviewed our budget. Rob, would you like to talk on this at all, or?
Come on up, Rob. Just state your name for the record.
Robert Inverso, Township Auditor. Every 3 years, we get reviewed by the state. So this was our year to come up, and they reviewed our budget, and they really had no problems with it. One thing they did notice is that I think it was electricity was a little bit lower than last year, the budgeted amount, and they said amend it, and that's what this amendment is for. We increased it by 4,000 and took it out of streets and roads OE. That's what that's about.
Okay, great.
The actual budget, there's no tax increase from the previous year. It's 9.9 cents. So it's a
Pretty
good
much the
budget.
same.
Pretty much the
Except for
same.
the
And this year,
Right.
the surplus is pretty good, but we had to cancel significant dollars in last year's budget to keep the surplus where it is this year.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, the surplus, give you that number. We started the year with the surplus of 2,292,000. We took out in last year's budget 1,306,000. We've returned 1,244,000. We're ending with a surplus of 2,230,000. Of that, we're using 1,332,000 in this year's budget, which is in line with the way we've always been doing. It's around 59% of our budget.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
the only reason I bring up what we had to cancel last year is we did not get money in from grant money, and just looking at, we didn't know if we were gonna have to make the payment on the fire truck or not, so we canceled a lot of dollars, putting that into the available surplus now. So what I'm saying is, at the end of this year, we're likely not gonna have as strong of a surplus as we did this year's budget.
When is our current payment for the fire truck due?
Fire truck is due to be delivered next year, so that's when the payments will be. We're still looking at January, February. That's okay. So it'll be in next year's budget.
Okay, great.
If we spend the surplus that is in this year's budget, where are we looking historically with the overall surplus number? Based on the last 10 years or so, are we in line?
We've basically been returning pretty much the surplus that we've had. There again, so we had a grant that we did not get in. It was 200 and something $1,000. That's going to be returned this year. So it's going to help our surplus. in
Yeah,
25.
but is that 2 million number historically around where the township has been?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions of Rob? Comments? Thank you, Rob. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
If
Thank
you, you don't need to stay for the rest of the meeting, you're welcome
Okay.
to, but
Okay. We do need a motion on this budget amendment.
okay, resolution 2025 R-59 is the budget adoption.
Nope,
or
let's back up to
58?
58, but the
can we
budget
do them
amendment.
Together?
Yeah, we can't do them together because we have to do a public hearing
Got
after we
it.
do the amendment.
All right, so the first one is 2025 R-58, which is the budget amendment. You just heard Rob discuss that.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Mr. Wilkinson,
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis,
Yes.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce.
Yes, okay, we need to have a public hearing on that resolution.
And
Any wish?
do you
anybody
want
wish
to make any other comments on the budget? Or okay.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Yes, sir. Come on up, Charlie, and identify yourself.
We're Charlie
Welcome,
Bergen, representing Indian Mills Fire Company. I sent out an email today to some of you, all of you actually. Where are we with the command vehicle?
You know, we're gonna have, perhaps we can have an executive session after this. We haven't had the opportunity as a board to discuss that at this point.
Okay.
There's
'cause-
35,000 in the budget for it.
Yeah, and we've been talking about that for a while and we've said that's just not enough. We've looked at different pricing, we've looked at used vehicles, we talked to Dave, looked at some different vehicles. We've got a pretty reasonably good price. We started out at 83,000. We're down in the mid-70s, but 35 is just not going to make it. We're still looking for 70 from the township and then we would cover the rest. That's where we stand right now.
Okay, I have had conversations with Charlie Bergen and also former Chief John Smith. And we'll just need an opportunity to get together with the board to see if there's additional room and
I
some
mean, we're
additional.
starting to
funding.
get concerned now that the vehicle that we have is becoming dangerous. I mean, the front end collapsed on us on one call. We had to spend a few $1,000s to have the front end rebuilt. You've seen the corrosion and the rust, waiting for the seats to go through the floor. So it's
I did
past
I
time. to
personally
replace
did an
that.
inspection about 2 weeks ago. Thank you, Charlie, for bringing it over. The
All right, thank you.
machine is in disrepair. It's rusted. So
That's great.
Charlie, we're gonna do what we can. Okay, just need to be a little patient.
What, if we decide to move forward on that, is there anything we could do? Can we pass a budget and still decide on that after the budget?
So
we
you're
have
talking
to-
about an amendment after it's
We would
introduced?
have to, I think, time it. such that-
Once the budget's adopted, we cannot amend the budget. That'll be final tonight.
And then the only time we could do any adoption or any, is November.
Yeah, so we'd essentially have to authorize the funding and then, but that's gonna have impacts at the end of the year. In terms of what Sue just talked about and the dropping surplus. So just so we understand the process, if there's a decision made to provide additional funding, we'd have to do a bond ordinance. We would self-finance that bond ordinance essentially at a surplus, right? So
Mhm.
And we're looking at a relatively small amount of money. The most they're asking for is 35 grand. And they've come down from that. So we're hardly worth going to bond for 15 or 20 grand. Can we find that in a raincoat somewhere?
Have to look at.
Yeah, I got a chance to see the vehicle inside too, and it is in very rough shape, and obviously want them to be safe and be able to serve our public to the best of their ability, so.
What are the
Good.
chances of financing this and we're putting a down payment on it and then you're picking up the monthly payments on it for the next 5 years? Because now you're spreading it out over a decent amount of time. We did also increase your annual funding by 15 grand last year and we're doing it every year.
We did look at that, we talked to Dave, we did get some, lease purchase pricing, which seemed to be a little bit ridiculous. when we looked at it. Interest rates on the vehicle, we have to pay vehicle rates, in the bank. Running around 7.5% right now. We'll probably finance 50,000. For 5 years, we're probably talking a couple of grand a month. I don't think we can swing that with our budget.
Any questions or comments or ideas?
So when you talk about financing, you would take the whole 35 and put it down, and then you'd have to finance another 50,
And finance the cost.
right?
80,000, 78,000 right now.
Which is
we're
about-
roughly 50,000 finance
Right.
for. We financed the last ambulance at 5% for I believe it was 10 years, and it was $1,400.
I thought you paid for that outright when we did that about 10 years ago.
Well, too, our company bought.
Yeah, when we re-outfitted them. Yeah, we re-outfitted them. We're talking about those? When we,
Remounts.
the remounts,
We
yeah.
had 2 remounts.
Yeah, we paid for one. And I thought you guys paid for that out of your surplus.
Yeah, we paid, I forget the number, but it was around $1,400 a month for 10 years.
Mhm.
Paid that vehicle, then we paid them off at the end.
And Charlie, you have, of the 50 that you would finance, you have some money in your left pocket, don't you, to put down on that thing to reduce the monthly payments? You have other money except that you can set down as a down payment, something.
We have money in the bank. Just like you, we have to have a reserve if something happens, we have to have money. For example, we won this $73,000 grant through the township. We had to spend the 73,000.
Right, to get it
back. So someday we'll get it back, maybe, with government right now, I'm not sure.
Well, you know you're gonna get it back though. It's a grant and we have to do the same thing with our road problem. We have over $250,000 outstanding that way.
To, I think, get that grant. If we didn't have the money to spend to get that grant, we'd never get it. So we need to keep some kind of a reserve. Originally, we planned on giving 50,000 for the new vehicle for the fire truck that was being purchased, and keeping the other 50,000 in the budget for this command vehicle. It didn't go that way. We ended up putting 100,000 down for the new fire truck. So that took away from the money we were set aside for the new command vehicle.
And how long until we have to buy another truck? Because isn't there another truck we have to buy in another 2 or 3 years?
Well, I talked to the mayor a little bit about this the other day. The truck we bought was $826,000, I believe.
That the township's on a hook for?
The township bought. That same truck, if we bought it today, 1.1 million. That's how much the price has gone up since we signed that contract.
And when do you have to buy
Now,
another
it did
one?
go up because we locked in a contract.
Right, but you still have to buy another truck by,
2012, the truck we have right now is a 2010.
Mhm.
According to NFPA, when it's 20 years old, you're supposed to put it in reserve. When it's 25 years old, you put it out in pasture. We're 12 years into that truck. We're not
Mhm.
15 years into that truck. We've got 5 years before we're supposed, for an NFPA, before we're supposed to put that truck out to pasture. And it's ridiculous. Everybody knows that, but it's
yeah, because the one that you sold had like 17,000 miles on it. It was ridiculous. It was I saw it. The cab was like
That's-
mint condition.
Nobody knows how the government works, the big government, when the big guys that make the vehicles, pay off certain people, they get what they want, and what they want, they make everybody have to replace the truck.
Are there waivers for that? Do you know if there's waivers for that? That you can apply for to extend?
For example, we got rid of that truck because it was, if we waited another year, the price would have dropped to almost nothing. So we got 49,000, I think. for that truck.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
They sold that truck to a company in Virginia.
Mhm.
They're using it right now.
Of course.
So how do they do that? Well, they ignore NFPA, they ignore POSHA. It's in New Jersey. And it's not in New Jersey.
Mhm.
That's a big thing. That's the difference. Now, it's just like having car insurance. You really don't need car insurance if you never had an accident. So if something happens, you sure as hell better have car insurance. Same thing with following the NFPA. If something happens to that truck on a call, everybody and their brother gets sued and you didn't follow NFPA, you're gonna lose. So it's kind of a balance. We can ignore the NFPA. It's not a law, it's a guideline. But you better have a good reason not to follow it, and that's where we are with that. I mean, that should change, but it's not gonna change because the big guys with the deep pockets are paying for it.
So you said a 25-year maximum, you got it in 2010.
Mhm.
Okay. So you got some time on that one.
Got a few years, but not many.
Yeah,
And at the
10
price
years.
scales.
Right, the price of truck goes up around $25,000 a year. It's accelerating, it's even going up quicker.
Maybe there'll be a new administration and they'll look more kindly at those reviews. I mean, if the truck is safe, there's no reason that we should be spending $1 million and
Says that 7 years when you're first out, that's a pumper. 7 years, you gotta replace all the tires. About 5,000 miles on them, and they're sitting in the garage, not in the sun. 7 years, you gotta replace all the tires.
so these are national rules, though. You're just saying,
Absolutely.
yeah, okay. So,
Of course, New Jersey's POSHA state, POSHA follows NFPA.
Yeah.
So we're locked into that.
Is this something we want to take up in executive session this evening? Is this something that we can do without prior notice?
I mean, we can discuss potential contract negotiations. I mean, I think if you guys want to have an opportunity to make a frank discussion about whether you're willing to do it or not, and need some time to do it, we can do it tonight.
I would suggest that we do that after the close of this meeting and have an executive session and see if we can hash something out.
So we will hold off on the budget adoption until after the executive session.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Charlie. Now, one of the nicer things that we do is we get to have an Eagle Scout project presentation. Young man?
one thing.
Go ahead. Oh, hang on one
um,
second.
We should formally close the budget hearing, make sure there's no other comments before.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments on the budget hearing? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting and invite our Eagle Scout to come on up. Good evening.
Hello, my name's Matthew Riley I'm from Troop 47. My mom sent out a packet of the proposal.
Thank you.
So I'm the senior patrol leader for my troop for Shamong. I'm looking for approval of my scout projects that will take place here at the municipal building. I met with Mrs. Honorado early last week and we discussed project plans. She indicated that the gardens here needed some landscaping, so I have two proposals that I wanted to share with you tonight. So the first proposal on the first page is to replace all the U's on those sides. The second proposal would brighten up the landscape with some color. I've created the second page in the packet to share my ideas and thoughts for the beds. So I was thinking that I could add various shrubs and flowers to the garden bed, which we would plant various plants like knockout shrubberies, boxwoods, and the summer hydrangeas and coastal eucalyptus bushes. We will also brighten up the walkway behind at the entrance of the building with daffodils. If you're interested in moving forward and approving this project, I plan to plant these plants in mid to early September. If you have any questions, I can answer them to my knowledge, so. yeah.
Great.
Can you take us through the project? Because you told me a little bit about what the process was for Eagle Scout budget, getting people involved, community involvement.
So for the Eagle Scout project, I have to fill out a packet that I have to send to my troop committee, and they have to add in like subtract ideas that they think would help my project, and then they would send it to the council for the scouts, which they would have to approve it. So it has to go through two approved plans, and then once I get that back, I can start saving up money, which I could get sponsors from other people, and I could set up a like a fund for the project, which that's how I get my money. So it just depends on how much time that would take to fill out the packet, to get it confirmed, and to save up the money for the project.
Okay, great.
Do you have a budget on what you're proposing here yet?
No, not yet. That will be in the packet that I fill out for the troop, so.
Matthew, there won't be any new trees that are planted up at the intersection here, right?
No,
All right. That's a concern. I think it's a great project and I think it's wonderful that you want to take this on. Maybe you can do a GoFundMe
Mhm.
and then also be right behind Charlie and go hit all the businesses. See if you can get some donations from the businesses in town as well. How long do you think this project would take you?
So with getting all the plants, it might take, depending on what time, like a few hours, maybe 2 days to plant the plants. Depending on whether you guys want like the whole proposals, that's up to you. If you want the second one or the first one would take less time. The second one would take a little bit more time with a lot of the plants, so.
Well, your timing is perfect. We had to take trees out, last month?
Mhm.
So it's a great project because I guess Jeff has requested that we take some trees out. So just make sure that they're a couple feet away from the building.
Yeah.
Since that's
There's we've already put that buffer, if you will,
Perfect.
with some stone all the way
All
around
right,
that side of the
great.
building. And,
So-
so in the second one, you're looking at actually taking all the U's out on the front side, the Willow Grove side. And
Yes.
replacing them and doing the two fronts.
Mhm.
That's a pretty substantial amount of work.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
handle that, you think?
Yeah, I've talked to one of the patrol leaders, or not scout leaders in my patrol. He owns a landscaping business, and he helped another Eagle Scout out with a landscaping job at the church and tabernacle.
Mhm.
He told me that he would like supply tools like shovels, rakes, and other things to help me remove the plants and add the plants in. And I think he's a good choice to help me
Okay,
with.
so you got a guy is what you're saying?
Yes,
All
yeah.
right, good.
And I'm sure that the Public Works can assist you with removing them as well. That's.
Yeah, our
Mm.
Public Works might have some machinery that,
Yeah.
you know, the
they can
bigger
pop it
things.
Right out for you.
And I think probably everybody up here can move a shovel or two.
My office
saying.
does a day of service once a month, so let
Okay.
us know when you're doing it.
So I
for
mean, we may
free.
be able to help you. I think it's a great project. So what I hear you saying is pick one or two,
Yes,
not both.
not both. Well, yeah.
All right, well, does anybody have any ideas about which one would be the, Sue, let's start with you, since you know the building the best. Do you have any,
I like all the
comments?
color that he's proposing in the second one, across the Stokes Road side, and I would say that if funding is short, leave the U's there and fill it in with some color
Mhm.
on the Willow Grove side.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion. Good job on that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I agree with, so that's what I like, the second one with color,
Yeah.
you know, just makes it a brighter, happier.
Does that sound good, Matthew?
Yes.
All right, so we'll go with number two. And you let us know what we can do to support you. We think it's a great project and we appreciate you taking this on.
Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you,
Thanks, Jeff.
sir. Thank you, Mom.
If we could just do a formal motion to approve it, that way.
So we have a motion to approve number two project for Matthew's Eagle Scout project.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Congratulations, Matthew. At this
Um,
point, go ahead, sir.
Okay, I was just gonna go into the next item.
Yeah, I was gonna say before we do that, I see Trooper Curran here with us. Trooper, instead of having you here for the rest of the evening, why don't you come on up, and if anybody has any questions or you have any comments? I know we spoke at length last night with 8 of the troopers about what's going on in town. And maybe we can just bring everybody up to speed.
Yes, absolutely. First off, I just wanted to just throw, just before that for Murphy's Pit, everything like that going on. I just want to give a little bit of insight for that, everything that's going on. And obviously the people that spoke before that just lived off Stony. I just want to just reiterate to how the state police kind of works and how much is just going on at the station. So for Red Line, obviously you're well aware. Not only are we covering the great township of Shamong, but we go through Southampton, we're going through Tabernacle and Woodland. Unfortunately, it's just hardships. No one wants to be a cop anymore. And unfortunately, we only really running on minimums. So I can tell you, and only in Troop C in the central region that we're at now, further go south, it's a little different. I could start this this job. I started in the evening. I was out in Southampton all the way down by a little past Leisure Town for a possible that a deceased horse. I'm in there. I'm in manure. And I apologize for ruining your building here. And in addition to that, I was all the way in Ongs Trail for a domestic dispute, and then I'm running all the way here. I just wanted to stress to the township and to the people who are living here. We're here, we're vigilant, but unfortunately, just there's so many mouths to feed, obviously, for the entirety of the Pine Barrens. So we greatly apologize if there's any slip ups or any times in between of what's going on at some place while we're obviously going somewhere else and we're obviously preoccupied. So I apologize for that. In addition to that, we go to Woodgate, continuously still doing the property checks, staying there vigilantly. I'm going around different areas of how I'm obviously looking at Woodgate. And then speaking obviously to residents that are there, and their complaints, obviously the biggest thing now is I think the ATVs is pretty much what they're complaining about. You drive through, you see that the door is open and that they have the ATVs out. They see us once or twice when we drive by, they pack up shop, they bring them inside because obviously they know that they're gonna get ready to ride and they're gonna have the loud noises and pretty much just piss off everyone in the township. In addition to that, we've kind of just been staying in that Shamong area, just pretty much off of Oakshade, to see if we hear anything with the windows down and in addition to extra calls. But furthermore, it's just a continuation of those property checks. Obviously, I greatly appreciate you coming out yesterday and speaking with us. In addition to that, what we can do, I know anything with the neighbors, I know it was kind of like a neighborhood watch type thing where if they hear something, say something, they can call us directly, or if they want to dial 911, that's absolutely fine too. But in addition to that, we're staying vigilant with it. We're staying on top of it. Everything is noted in the CAD that we have. I know I spoke about that last month as well, but everything is well documented, and I was able to bring it up to the lieutenant to see this is how many times we're out here for certain things. If it's just the property checks, if someone called for the ATV complaints, everything's there. If the township needs that for whatever reason, we could easily make that available and then give that to you as well. But furthermore, that's really all I have. If there's any other questions from the township, in addition to anyone that's sitting in the the audience, I would easily be able to answer that.
All right, great. How many times would you say the troopers have been out there the last month?
If I could say, first off, I can say for myself, if it's a month, or if I'm here throughout the entirety, it would be, how many shifts is that? It'd be 14 shifts, day and night. Easily, I'd say twice a shift, so like 28 times just for myself, and that's just me doing my checks, just because I enjoy just doing the property checks here and everything, speaking with people. But for the entirety of the station, a month, easily over 100.
Got it.
Easily, they're driving through. Sometimes longer than others. It could be 5 minutes, it could be a minute, just if there's a call that comes out. There's always something.
I understand. I appreciate you guys. I know that the troopers I spoke to last evening said that when they drive down Oakshade, they now make that turn and come by the house. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're probably going there in excess of 100 times, well, in excess of 100 times a month. Just so everybody in the audience knows, there's a court hearing that was pending. Unfortunately, it's been put off several times. Has nothing to do with the township. It has nothing to do with the state police. The latest hearing, I understand, is August 6th. Some of the neighbors have written letters, and I've been in contact with authorities as well. So we don't quite understand. We have some ideas of what's going on, but not at liberty to share those. But hopefully, it won't get kicked down the road, and the judge will sentence the person who's, I think, responsible for the great amount of problems. I want to thank you and Lieutenant Long and all your troopers. I know you got a lot of ground to cover. We understand that, and we really appreciate you guys, and we're happy with you. I wanted to call you up now so you didn't sit here for the
I
next hour and a
appreciate it.
half. And anyone have any questions of the trooper?
I don't know if you can just get with us through the neighborhood watch discussion, which will be pretty brief. I've reached out to Lieutenant Long probably about 5-6 weeks ago and hit him with the idea of doing a neighborhood watch program. And he took it all the way up and down the chain of command, and we're trying to formulate this. But the second item on this thing is contact your law enforcement agency and schedule a meeting, which clearly we've done. The first item is recruit and organize as many neighbors as possible. I'm pretty confident in the town that I have lived in for many years that there will be plenty of people that'll volunteer. They're already doing it on an unorganized fashion just because they care about their community. But I think a neighborhood watch program is just another way to doing this. And we're looking for a way to put that together with the state police because it's a little unusual for them to do that. It's usually a local police force that does it. So it's something we're discussing, something we're trying to move towards, and it's just a matter of time and getting things, all the parties together.
Absolutely.
Rob, you have any comments on that? Just making that face. All right, great. Trooper, thank you. We appreciate you. And next time we'll have one of those boot kickers outside that you can.
Sure. I'll tell you what, on my way to Southampton, I'm taking Oakshade and then I'll swing by. So.
All right, great. Thank you, sir. We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're a little bit out of order there, but I wanted to honor his trooper's time. So we talked about the community watch update, and if anybody's interested in that or has any past experience, we sure appreciate you reaching out for us as we, as neighbors, can cure this problem, maybe nip it in the bud rather than always relying upon the police. Although if you see something, you call 911, they'll get there as quickly as possible. I think what's going on is they're running drugs out of that house on an ATV, and they're either going to Wawa or they're going somewhere in the woods. And so if we can get that nailed down, it's something that we can get it staked out and get that problem cured. Next, we're going to go to the Pinelands Memorial Park Cemetery capital budget request.
The cemetery board has put together some estimates and has asked to see if we can seek approval from the township committee to spend some of the money that we have in our capital budget, that is remaining dollars that were already dedicated to the construction of the cemetery. And what we're looking at doing is to install a pole, install power to the site. We looked at initially one route with the power company. It was going to cost almost $14,000 just to get electricity from the street to the property. And the pole was actually on our side of the road, so it's a lot of money. We went back to them and said, okay, just drop the power down the pole. We'll trench it in ourselves. That came down to $6,300. And John Ronaldson Electric, he has put together a cost of $4,500, which is primarily the material. We've got to do a run of about 175 to 200 feet. He's also proposing that it goes back to the pole and has a line there for future use that we can use to light the flagpole and the the sign, if you choose to, but the infrastructure would be there that way. The cost for the material is, the cost of labor is nothing because John Ronaldson's going to donate that. And the cost for trenching it is being, is no charge either because Jimmy Gaskell is going to donate his time and his machine to trench it in. So the total cost of this would be $10,764. We already have a capital budget for electrical work of $10,000. So that leaves $764, which could very easily come out of our operating budget this year. But we would need the township committee's approval to do that.
Let me ask you a question. Is it possible to take that $10,764 and move it to the request for the fire apparatus?
No, it's in a bond ordinance that's dedicated to the cemetery.
Okay.
There's also additional needs. We would need to put an 8x12 shed, $2,700 roughly. That would house the panel circuit breaker box. There would be some base work to be done, probably about $500 a stone, and then our public works would bring that in and set up a base for us. And there's available balance in the capital budget for materials and work on the cemetery of $4,333. So we still have a capital budget remaining balance of $1,130. So with all this considered, we're looking at less than $1,000 out of pocket. Everything else would be out of the bond ordinance. So it's money that's been dedicated for the cemetery and sitting in an account, basically.
What is the need for having power to the shed?
Power for the shed will help us because what we want to do is eventually get irrigation out there. Anybody goes past the cemetery in July and August, it's a bunch of fried grass. It's just too sandy soil. We can't keep the grass looking good. So without that power on site, so this is a first step of getting that process done.
Okay.
Is there any benefits to power on site without the irrigation? Just
Lighting the flagpole
Lighting the flagpole,
properly
yeah, okay.
and sign the other two purposes. But when we designed the cemetery, they put in piping underneath the entrances. So it was always thought that we would put irrigation there some point in time. So it gives us that ability to do it.
Any other questions or comments?
I mean, I wasn't here when this bond ordinance was passed, but I am inclined to honor the past committee that had this idea. So I'm inclined to spend up until what was approved by past committee
If
members.
that money's not used, what happens to it?
Well, the other uses we'll have for it is just, and I know one of the things that was concerned of is if we have to buy another columbarium, which the columbarium itself is about $10,000 and you have shipping costs. They have to put a cement slab in, so you're probably looking around $15,000-$20,000. So some of the funds can be used at, I forget what all the categories were. I don't have that in front of me, I'm sorry. But
Did we not budget for that separately, or we'd have to get additional funds?
the thought was at the time, and I only raised this because I think you raised the question concerned about the columbarium. The thought was that as money comes in, you're putting money to the side, it's making money. Last year was the first year that it actually did make money and cover all of its costs, the cemetery. So as things continue to be sold there, there's more money that can be put back in.
What's the percentage now, do you know, in the columbarium that of use?
There's 48 niches, and I think that we only have about 5 or 6 that are sold.
Okay,
and
so
we're-
just everybody knows, we have a cemetery right at the street. We have the lowest prices of any cemetery around. So it's a nice gift if you want to give your family something that hopefully they won't use for a long, long time. Okay, anybody have any questions or comments about that? And if not, can there be a motion? If there's no motion, it dies. Okay, no motion, that's the end of that. There'll be no, even though, and we appreciate Mr. Ronaldson's and
Mr. Gaskell.
Mr. Gaskell's donations, offers of donations. Maybe we can just do a shed without any power and use solar as we have on the flagpole and at the back portion. And we'll go from there. Okay, next, we're going to go to the Borough Code GIF Fund Commissioner Report of May 20th, 2025.
Just highlight a couple items on this. Personnel Policies Procedure Manual biannually needs to be reviewed and updated, and final approval and distribution out by November 1st. There's also a managers and supervisory required training due by November 1st. And we've also completed the required basic security scrapbook for cybersecurity. And that's been reviewed and accepted by the cyber GIF.
Okay, great. Do we need a motion on that?
Nope.
All right, next is some information about the Burlington County Revised Election District. Some of you may have noticed or received a letter that you're now in a different district. So the state basically required, for some reason, the numbers that you may be in District 2 and you're moved to District 3, you'll move to one side of the room or the other. There's not any major changes. We are now available. There are 9 different locations where you can vote by mail. So if you want to avoid the rush, and you may remember the last time we had some problems, they've purchased some new machines, but I don't think we're going to get one of those. Sue, do you have any information?
We might get an additional machine at this office. That's what I'm being,
Okay.
but
So I'm going to say that we're not going to get one. So be smart. And if you can vote early, go ahead and vote early. It started today, I believe. And then the election is June 10th. So we would ask if you have your mail-in ballots at home, please do those when you get home. If you want to go out and vote early, the closest would be Tabernacle or Medford. And you can vote in person there. And if not, then you'll be standing with your neighbors on June 10th. And we appreciate and encourage all of you to vote. Anybody else have anything on that? Okay. Next is the Indian Mills Volunteer Fire Company request for a coin drop, which will occur on Saturday, June 7th, with a rain date of June 8th. John, how'd you do last year?
and
We did well. Last year was the first time, similar to what the Knights of Columbus did, where we spent the entire day out on the intersection. So that made up for the decreased traffic that we no longer see from the racetrack.
Right.
And we were there till 5 p.m. That allowed us to kind of make up to the levels that we had been making back in the day, when a lot of the folks driving through on their way to the racetrack were very generous. We definitely saw a dip in the 2-year period since it closed, and when we were just doing it from about 8 to 1 or 2. So we stretched
Can
the
you
average.
share with us how much you raised?
Yeah, about $3,000 for the day. Yeah.
Pretty good.
So, yeah, and that's all part of our budget. We count on that as part of our revenue program. We do it twice a year. And we try to time it with the Athletic Association. We're looking for opportunities when there might be a draw into the town, additional traffic to Wawa, something that might just be an extra burden. So the original request resolution that was passed by this governing body was for the following Saturday, the 14th, and we were going to do it then. But then our membership learned through the engineer's report that the county road is going to close on around Monday the 9th. We thought if there's no traffic going to Atco that direction, there's no traffic coming from Atco that direction, it might as well just put a nail in our coffin for that.
Okay, good.
So we
Smart.
decided to
moving it
move it forward. It does coincide with the next item on your agenda. If I can jump
Yes, sir,
speak
go
to
ahead.
that, which is the state police is running a bike rodeo safety course. It's an instructional thing. They've invited all the area school kids in that age group to the memorial school, and the fire company's assisting state police in the planning and the setup of that and the conducting of it. So we're going to split our membership a little bit that day. So I wanted to invite the committee, and certainly if your office has day of service or anything, we've had members of the community come out before and help us with the coin drop. So if anybody wants to work a little bit of a shift for that, we'd love to have you on the corner. I've got a vest that'll fit really well for you.
Perfect. That's
All
great.
right.
And that event will be at the school at the same time you guys are
It'll be
doing
at the
it.
memorial school from 11 to 3. They'll be setting up early in the morning. Kids from all the communities adjoining, not just our kids from Shamong are invited. They'll get demonstration. There'll be a challenge course, safety instruction, helmet fitting, e-bikes. There's going to be an e-bike vendor there. They'll give demos, try them out. Sounds like a fun event. And the state police has a community outreach group that's going as part of, also was affiliated with Leeds, who just ran their carnival in the area. They're doing a nice job, and it's being spearheaded by Grace, who's our school resource officer.
Yeah, so that's Grace Warren.
Yes,
You'll be with
yeah,
her.
He spearheaded the planning and the map,
Perfect.
did a great job reaching out to me and the schools, setting the whole thing up. So I'm really pleased with the event. I wish that we could focus on just the one. So now we're stepping on each other. And then it just as a reminder, if I could, Sunday, we're closing Fork Neck in the morning. We also had a governing body approval for that. There's the Good Day for a Run, which is a fundraiser that starts at the Valenzano Winery and goes up Fork Neck, turns around at Dingletown and comes back. Fire company and myself will be closing down a short section of it Sunday morning from about 9 a.m. to 10:30 in the morning. Usually minor impact. Some of the local residents will be sending out a civic alert, letting folks know about the bike tournament, about the coin drop, and about the Fork Neck closure as well, since they all
Perfect. A
have
lot of things going on in
a
Shamong.
lot going on downtown Shamong.
All right. Thank you, John. We
Thank you.
appreciate you. Can we have do we need a motion for the coin drop? change the
amendment
date?
Do you need that, Doug? It's just amending the dates.
Yes, I would just do a motion.
All right.
and-
All right, can I have a motion to amend the coin drop date to Saturday, June 7th with a rain date of June 8th?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Ms. Poseidis,
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson,
Yes.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Mr. Kirchi.
I vote yes. Next is the bike rodeo, which you just heard Mr. Lyons talk about, which is Saturday, June 7th at IMMS from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So Matthew, that might be a good thing for you to tell your fellow scouts, and we can maybe plug you into action. Are we allowed to have young men and women help with the coin drop, or do we have a ridiculous rule in New Jersey which says you must be 18?
We actually, you have to be 16 or older in order to be on the road.
Okay, so
That's
you,
correct.
I think so.
are
yeah.
you over 16?
Yeah.
There you go. You've passed the test. So if you're not doing anything that day, come on out. And by the way, you guys can use my parking lot as your grilling station because they're great hot dogs. All right, great. We don't need anything for the bike rodeo. We don't need a motion for that?
No.
Okay, great. All right, next we're going to move to the resolutions. 2025 R56, opposing legislation that permits accessory dwelling units, which was tabled on the May 6, 2025 meeting. You may recall that this was something that came down from the state, which basically said that the state would allow additional uses for your property, for your neighbor's property, to have people move in, to have other structures built. And we think that the discussion was at least that was taking away some of the authority which we have as a local government to decide who's going to move in next to your house next door. So we didn't have a vote at that time. We have had some discussions and some additional research since then. And if there are any questions or comments that anybody wants to make. And if not, then we need a motion if anyone is in favor of opposing the legislation that permits accessory dwelling units. There's no motion, it dies.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second? No second, the motion dies. Next is 2025 R-60, which grants the raffle license to the Pinelands Preservation Alliance. Details for that, Sue?
They've submitted their application. It's been reviewed. They've paid all fees. And state police have been made aware of it. It's to take place on October the 31st.
Okay,
And,
great. Anybody have any questions or comments? This is something they've done in the past?
No, it's
This
first
is the
time.
first time, yeah. And who are the Pinelands Preservation Alliance?
They took over Adams Canoe basically on Outside Road across
Got
the
it.
lake.
Okay. That used to be a
No.
state-connected entity. Are they no longer?
The Pinelands Adventures LLC, not the Preservation Alliance, Pinelands, they're doing business as Pinelands Adventures. They were never a state agency, were they? They were always a
They
nonprofit.
may get some funding, but I'm not aware of a formal connection.
Yeah, I think they
they're
were
like
just
a
getting-
Support
Yeah,
group
they
for
definitely do.
Pinelands.
They get a good amount of funding.
All right. Any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion? Granting a raffle license to the Pinelands Preservation Alliance.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yeah, I'm not for their, fight of keeping us out of the woods, but I'm not gonna be petty and block something like this, so I'll go yes.
Mr. Kirchi?
I'll vote yes with the same caveat. Next is 2025 R-61, which is a resolution of the Township of Shamong requesting that the Director of the Division of Local Government Services grant permission for the insertion of an item of special revenue in the 2025 budget entitled FY 2025 Clean Communities Grant.
This grant funding is $26,020.68, and the it'll be offset dollar for dollar as required. All the spending is restricted to the Clean Communities Fund, so it's a zero effect to the bottom line or the tax rate.
Questions or comments? Yes, sir. Got it. So we'll wait. Thank you, Rob. We'll wait and hold to the end after the executive session and we adopt the budget. Next is 2025 R-62, which authorizes tax overpayment refund So many of you that have been here before have heard us do this often. If somebody overpays or they sell their house or something happens, they've given us a little bit of a bonus. They want their money back. So you can give us the details on this one?
Yeah, the refunds are going to 4 different properties. They total $7,206.86. And again, this happens during a sale or a refi of a house, any property.
You have a total of what
Yeah.
the numbers?
Yes, $7,206.86 over 4 different properties.
Got it. Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next is a blanket motion, 2025 R-63, 2025 R-64, and 2025 R-65. The R-63 is the ABC license renewal for 2025, 2026. TMP Enterprises, Inc., doing business as La Campanola Restaurant. And 2025 R-64 is ABC license renewal for the 2025-26 Piccadilly Inn, both great businesses in our town.
Okay, and 2025 R-65, I just wanted to make a comment on that one. They are in the process of seeking their certification of approval through the state, proving that they've paid all sales tax. And they also still, they're dropping off a check to us tomorrow for our local fee of $2,500. There's a line item towards the end of the resolution that states that the approval will be granted upon receipt of required alcoholic beverage control license clearance certificate and local fees. Everything, the other 2 licenses have met all the requirements.
Okay, great. So can we have a motion for the blanket motions?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, so Scoots was included in that, or do we need to have a
That was the
separate?
last one.
Perfect. Next is 2025 R-66, which authorizes a grant to the Burlington County Board of Commissioners for the year 2025 Municipal Parks Development Program.
Okay, and Joe, do you want to say anything on this?
Yeah, this grant was, I won't say discontinued, but it was quiet for 23 and 24. I think 2022 was the last year they had this grant. So they announced earlier this year that there was a $5 million funding for it for this year. So we're applying for the grant due June 27th. This resolution is in support of the grant application, which is required by the grant application. I coordinated with Sue and the IMAA with regards to the scope of work. And we're requesting plus or minus $250,000, which is the max award.
Okay, great. What do you anticipate that the funds will be used for?
We're doing some improvements to the softball fields, some drainage improvements, batting cage improvements, snack stand improvements, lighting of the pickleball court, and then some additional asphalt path improvements at
Okay.
Dingletown.
When is this due and when do you expect to?
It's due June 27th. Back in 22, I believe they were September, October announcements for awards, if I recall correctly.
And back then, we were submitting $100,000 grants, but getting $250,000 grants, but we were getting 100,000.
Yeah.
So we've been kind of faced with those problems.
Okay, so we've not been issued the grant, just this is permission
This
to.
is just,
This is just for the grant
Oh, for the
application.
grant. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Historically, they used to give something to every town, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
So did the
50
local
million.
rec improvements, which did not. You did, you got.
Yeah, we got.
There was a lot of other towns in the county, did not get grants from that program. So I'm not sure if that's why this one got funded again, but, it's an
Okay.
opportunity for us.
Other questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next is 2025 R-67, which authorizes the approval for submission of a grant application to the New Jersey Department of Transportation Municipal Aid Grant Program for improvements to Atzion Road Phase 4. Would you like to give us some update on that?
So this is, obviously phase 4 of that side road. We did the first 2 phases were on the southern end. Last year we went up to the northern end, and did phase 3. It's not constructed yet, obviously, but, we're working on the design for that. So this, we coordinated with Public Works, to locate the next phase of this, which picks up where phase 2 actually left off. and then goes north. We'll apply for about, I think it's about a mile is what we'll apply for. Typically, they're around 250-ish awards in the amount. So, same thing, this is just a grant, a resolution to support the grant application.
So you have literally saved our town millions of dollars. You and your predecessor have between Grassy Lake, Outside Road. So we're quite pleased about that. So just so you know, this is not money that comes out of taxpayers' pockets. Of course, it comes out of your pockets because you're paying for it. But it's the scheme here in New Jersey where you pay it, and then we go back and beg the state for our money back. We fortunately have been granted a lot of money every year for the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Which we did Grassy Lake Road. Many of you will remember I talk about that a lot because that was a big problem.
Was fourth phase, that was fourth phase.
That was 4
Yeah.
phases. So it's amazing how much money and how little road you get for the amount of money. So we know you try and stretch that and we'd appreciate that. Okay, anybody have any questions or comments about this phase 4 on that side road? Okay. If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to apply for.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Ms. Mazitis,
Yes.
Mr. Diamond.
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson,
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce.
Yes, next is 2025 R-68, which is the 2025 salary resolution. So can you go through the highlights of that?
Basically, what we've done is we've budgeted for a 4% cost of living adjustment to the staff. And there's been a couple of positions that did not get any increase because they received promotions at the beginning of the year within Public Works. Rob, can we do this one, or does this have to have the budget approved first? Okay,
Do you historically pair this with inflation, just CPI?
look, the CPI, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis,
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson,
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce.
Yes. Next, the ordinance is 2025-5. This is the second reading in a public hearing authorizing the acquisition of property at block 12.01, lot 10, just off Stokes Road, within the township of Shamong. Can you give us the actual address if we have this? I know
It is landlocked.
Yeah.
vacant
Yeah.
property that's landlocked.
Mhm.
Precise street address.
Need a helicopter.
Yes,
Yeah.
you do.
And just for the record, the acquisition cost is out of pocket to the township, $5,800. We're picking up some surplus acreage to try and add to our totals. I think we have open space funds, so it's not coming out of the general budget.
And why would we want this vacant land? What benefit is it to the town?
So Shamong sits at just below 60% of the municipality in either state or preservation trust hands. If we can crest over that 60%, the payment in lieu that comes from the state for acreage doubles. So there is hopefully a financial incentive at the end of the rainbow for us.
How many acres are we short of doubling our,
We're still, it's a couple of hundred, but when we have opportunity to pick up cheap land, it's advisable. And we're also, as part of the Murphy's Pit discussion, trying to pick up significant additional acreage there. If that comes to fruition, then we can really start focusing on whether we can get over that 60%, and we'll be a lot closer.
do you have an idea of how many acres would be involved in the Murphy's Pit donation, let's say?
Close to 100, I
I
would
think
think.
that's about 100 acres.
Okay, all right, so that puts us quite a ways towards getting something done. That would be great. If anybody has a big backyard, that's in wetlands, we'd be interested in talking to you because as we get closer, literally, we used to get $10 an acre?
We are getting $10 an acre.
That's what we're getting now?
Originally, that was 175,000, and then they took a third of that away.
Okay.
So that's where we are now. And
So,
So the way the statute reads, we're supposed to get $10 an acre. The budget, however, has only funded 2/3 of that amount. If we got over the 60%, the the figure, for example, I think Washington Township has over 60%, they get $20 an acre.
Okay, and that'll make a big difference.
Do you know of any town that has increased their percentages?
Well, I think some towns have naturally increased their percentages, but whether they've crested over to a new.
That's what I meant. Yeah,
figure,
for
no, and I do think. Given the way the state handles things, it's not going to be a, hey, we're now over this thing, so please
Yes, to
send us
wrestle
the
with
money. It's gonna be some discussion and potentially a fight. But the statute says what it says.
We've lost a substantial amount of money over the last 5 years. What will your estimate be, so?
In the last 5 years, we've probably lost about $4 million. State
Right,
funding, if
so-
not more.
For our little town, $4 million is a big hit. That's 4 trucks, right? 4 fire trucks?
Yeah, we can.
All right,
Fire
if
truck
there
parade.
are no other questions or comments on 2025-5, which is the second reading of public hearing,
Did you
Uh,
open
off-
it to the public?
I did not. We'll open that up to the public for any discussion or questions about buying this great land. Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll close it and open it up for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Cochi? And
Yes,
Doug, the funds on that can be released after the second notice is published, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and send the paperwork. We've been communicating by email with the seller, so I'll send the deed. Now that's been formally approved down to them for execution and return, and when we get it back, we'll file with the county clerk.
is there any other use while it's vacant, while we own it, that we could utilize that property for?
Cranberry bogs?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why it's not marketable is because it's.
Right.
got
And
wetlands
we own
implications.
other parcels in that same area.
Yeah,
So like the whole,
And they are
like
also
it kind
part
of
of the
adds to
Rossi.
what we already have in that parcel.
Okay. Any way to raise some money from it? Hunting?
I'm open to discussion. I
Okay.
don't know
If anybody has any
if-
ideas on that, how to raise money on our vacant land, we'd love to hear it. An RV park. Oh.
Pontoon boats.
All right, did we get a vote on that?
Did.
All right, great, thank you. Next is the approval of the attached bill list, which this month is $1,596,785.89. Everybody's been provided with a copy of the budget before tonight's meeting. Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion to pay the bills? If there's no motion, we don't pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I will second it.
Thank you both.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Cochi?
Yes. Next, we move to our reports. Township Engineer Joe Hirsch, good evening.
Good evening.
You have anything further?
I don't have anything further, no. I just wanted to make sure that we got the resolutions adopted so we can continue to complete the grant applications and get them submitted on time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Next, Township Solicitor, good evening, Doug.
Nothing further tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Township Administrator Sue, you're going to be as fast as our other two professionals, I hope.
Pretty much. Just want to let you know, Seneca Senior Day of Service was moved from May 28th to June 5th, and they'll be planting some flowers around our building as well as cleaning up some trash and debris. And we've already gone over the other items, so.
Okay, great. So they're not going to disturb what Matthew's going to do?
No.
All right, good. We're going to, at this point, open the meeting back up to public comment. Mr. Lyons, please come up. You should be first. The next month we'll make you first.
Just a couple quick comments. John Lyons, Emergency Management Treasurer, Indian Mills Fire Company. So this past week, we completed all of the purchases for the DCA grant, which was American Rescue Act Firefighter Assistance in New Jersey grant. That money was granted to Shamong Township to sponsor the Indian Mills Fire Company. With that money, $73,000, we were able to buy 9 sets of turnout gear, which replaces our oldest sets as well as outfits some of our new members that we have. We bought an AED for the station. There actually wasn't one in the building, only on the trucks. A dryer for clothes. We put a washer on the previous one, so now we have a lot of PPE care. Life safety equipment for traffic, including wands, vests, traffic, high visibility vests, a washer for our hoses, 2 new air packs, That's $20,000 right there. So now what we're trying to do is take turnout gear and Scott packs, which are probably our most expensive renewable items, what we would say every 10 years or so, have to refresh them, put them on a different age timeline. So these two are newer than the ones that we bought when we were dealing with the grant from FEMA that didn't come through. And then we used state funds for that as well. If you remember with Mayor Gimbel when we went through that. So
Yes, sir.
as those get old, we have newer ones that wouldn't, so they don't have to all be replaced at the same time. So
Right.
we're able to kind of phase that out. So that was kind of a game changer, as well as all new rescue gloves, fire gloves, and hoods. So, I mean, this is, it's required equipment that they have to have, but $73,000 went a really long way towards being able to purchase that. I want to thank the committee for supporting this grant. State came through with those federal funds, and you know, the next page, I think probably in July, you'll see that in the bill payment to refund the fire company who's put out all the money for that. We submitted the paperwork, and then once that's done, Sue and I will work to have the township reimbursed from the state from that, so everyone's made whole. So much like we talk about with the roadway work, with put some money out, but in the end, we're able to get this much needed gear. This is, you know, this is the kind of decisions that you make all or none in our budget. So this allows us to do those kind of things. I don't hear or know of anything that's coming up in the next fiscal year. Brian, if you hear anything at all, please let me know. I'll be all over it. But I would imagine that this is a lot of the funding changes that we'll see, that this may be the last that we'll see that kind of a program for some time until some changes happen. But that was a big change. We talked about the coin drop. Our fund drive kicked off for the fire company. The mailers went out over the last weekend. All residents through our mailing list here that are property owners, whether you live in town or you just own property, receive those coupons. We've been advertising it heavily on social media as well. And we just appreciate getting the word out to support our fund drive. And we're starting to see some returns come in already, which is great. We talked about the Fork Neck Road closure. I wanted to thank the committee as well as VFW and Mighty Joe's for the Memorial Day service. We had an excellent Memorial Day service. A lot of positive feedback that I get from attendees that it has a certain grace to it. And that's just, you know, the way people feel about our memorial, very positive, that it's very Memorial Day like. And I appreciate hearing that. The reason I added in Mighty Joe's, they picked up the tab this year to feed the VFW troop, which is something the fire company's done in the past. And we'll thank Barbara Valenzano and the team over there for taking care of them. We are actually in the process of, I'm learning, and Sue's guiding me through it, of applying for a raffle for the fire company to have a 50-50 as well at our October fire prevention timeline. So we hope in the next township meeting, hopefully we'll see a resolution granting us for that event as well. We did get our registration number from the state. Now we have to apply for the actual event. This is a learning process for me. But once we have that, hopefully it's just a renewable thing that we can do from year to year and just help us with our fundraising efforts. The last thing I wanted to leave you with is a notification that Shamong, through the school and state police, is looking at a national night out. So this is a law enforcement driven event. It's a national event. They're very popular, large ones that are happening in our communities like Medford and Lumberton and others. I'm sure you've heard of it. It always falls on the same night as the August Township Committee meeting. It's usually why I'm not here for that meeting. I'm usually over in Medford supporting it. A lot of public service agencies will come out and display equipment, touch a truck, talk with the kids in the neighborhoods, et cetera. It's just a great way to connect with the community. Well, the school and the state police have expressed an interest in having it for the first time ever here in Shamong at the school. So we'll be participating in that event. There's already some discussion going on around planning it. Hopefully the timing allows you guys to participate before the meeting and come out for that. And then maybe next year we'll look at the calendar to actually move your meeting so we can do all together. It'd be great. Looking forward to it. I think it's kind of a neat event to see it come into Shamong. So
Thank you, John. I
All right.
wanted to acknowledge you and Charlie. Stand up, Charlie, so everybody knows you.
all guy.
Charlie and John and all of their members ran an unbelievably good Memorial Day ceremony. And I'd like to give a round of applause, and please tell your members that we thank you very much. Thank you, John. Okay, we're rounding third base. Now we're going to open the meeting up to public comment. Anybody? Judy, good evening. Hi. State your name. Thank you, Judy. Just state your name, Judy, for the record.
I live at 102 Willow Grove. I wanted to thank you for your letter to the county, along with other people that are trying to fight this circle. I recently got a certified letter in the mail along with my neighbors, hence, you know, we spoke. I was beside myself to find out that, and I don't know if it's all true, that Jim Gatskill sold his property and that they're gonna put greenhouses on this property and grow marijuana. So I'm gonna be living on a circle and across the street from a marijuana facility. I mean, I'm beside myself. I mean, don't we have a say as people, what's gonna go there? I mean, you look at the Shamong Diner that was supposed to be opening and selling marijuana, different stuff, and still sitting there. And then it's okay that we're gonna grow marijuana across the street from the municipal building and greenhouses? Don't we get a say as people?
Yep, two issues. The first one is the circle. It's now before the Pinelands Commission.
Right.
So a number of us have written letters to them. We understand that there was a endangered species that was located on or near the property, so that may give the Pinelands Commission pause to reconsider any approval.
What kind of endangered species?
It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's some kind of insect,
Trees.
some kind of I don't know what it is, but it's some kind of
It's not a
insect.
bear thing.
No, not a bear, some kind of insect.
It's usually snakes.
It's
Oh,
a,
great.
It could be a turtle.
it could be a turtle, it could be a moth.
Or yeah, TNS, yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall what it was, but
Frogs and snakes.
this is a good thing for you.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
so-
a snake nest held up the Pemberton Shopping Center for about 10 years, so we'll see.
And
if
then
it-
as you were talking, did I understand it right, that the township would have to pay for this circle, put out the money and then
No.
pay for the grant back? Or the
No,
grant-
that's a different
Okay.
thing. So here, and the argument is that, and when it first came out, it was a $20 million circle. And Sue and I went up to the county and they actually, because I came out publicly opposed to the circle, that we don't need a $20 million circle. I'll bet there haven't been 50 cars that have gone by the entire time we've been here. So that's number one. Then they say it's not 20 million, it's 2 million. And then you heard, and I know a lot of you were here, it's 2 million, but we haven't paid off any of the property owners are going to be affected and do all this extra work. So, you know,
And
they're,
I can't get an answer as to how it's affecting me, beside the fact that you're killing the value of my home, which I guess I'm the only one that cares about because I'm the one who vested in this
Mm.
and was never told when I bought the house about this circle,
Right.
which amazes me that that wasn't disclosed, but neither here nor there, to find out now that there's gonna be a pot facility across the street.
all right. So let me address that issue next. So
Please.
hopefully we'll stop the circle, right? Or they like to call it the roundabout, and it won't happen in our lifetime. But, and maybe there's at some point, this commission up here, the dais will reconsider our approval as one more.
Will there be that county meeting that we're waiting for?
They
Do you
haven't,
suspect?
they say that they're going to tell us when they're going to have the meeting, and of course, we'll make that public.
Because I've reached out to so many people to attend when this occurs, like,
Yeah,
there's gonna be a whole bunch of people there complaining.
I think that the Pinelands Commission approval is going to be lengthy and may not come. All right, so that's the
Left-
first issue.
Got it.
The second issue is the cannabis issue. So I would say, is it 5 or 6 years ago, we considered that proposal and had certain areas that were permitted in the town where they could grow cannabis if it became legal, which it did.
Right.
And that was one property right across the street that we determined
The whole industrial.
the whole industrial park would be an appropriate area. So unfortunately, your property is adjacent to the industrial.
Don't,
Now,
you know, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I have a severe allergy to marijuana. I know that that's.
smoking it or just breathing it?
Even breathing it, I swear to God, I break out in hives, my throat closes.
I got that. I'm making light of it, but
Would want to benefit from pain relief, having had 4 major back surgeries and 2 necks and have a rod in my back, and I suffer with an immense amount of pain. And I have Crohn's disease, like I've tried marijuana and have been hospitalized. So just finding out through the grapevine that this was gonna happen, I was like, wow.
yeah, so I will say this, that if anything, any facility goes in there, a grow facility, that the state restrictions are so unbelievable. First, they have to have it so you can't see it. There'll be limited signage, so you won't even know it's there. There'll be scrubbers so that there's no odor. So they have ways to do that now. And there won't be any large trucks or anything coming in and out of there. So if that makes you a little bit more comfortable,
Is that be sold to someone?
that I can't tell you. I don't know. They may have to go do a search or
Because
contact the owner.
I was told, somebody told me that he's leasing it to this facility,
Mm.
and then he himself told me he sold it. So
Yeah, I mean, the one way to do it would be check the deed records, but I've not been put on notice that they,
the meeting that's coming up on June 17th regarding this, that I got the letter for, do you know anything about that?
Is it before the committee? Is it probably a zoning?
It's gonna be coming through the joint, you got a notice because the Joint Land Use Board is gonna hear that application.
Will that be here?
That'll be in this room on the,
And what will
17th,
that,
I think is.
what is that about?
So they're coming in, basically setting forth their plan as to what they would like to do.
Are we allowed to say yay? or nay?
Absolutely, you can come up and you will be heard. So the zoning board is a different board than the committee that you have here. And they're in charge of deciding what is legal, what you can do, what you can build, what restrictions there are, and they may not get approval for what they want to do. Our law, we passed an ordinance which said that industrial park was the proper areas to where this business should occur, since it's now legal in the state of New Jersey. But a lot of your concerns about the odor and
That will
safety,
not be.
well, there are plans in place where that should not affect you.
Okay, listen, if we can stop the circle, I'll deal with that, you know?
Why don't we use the circle money for the firemen and,
I totally agree with
all right,
you.
the last point I wanted to make, Judy, was when you made your comments to the county, they evidently changed their plan so that your land would not be
I
taken.
understand, but
Yeah.
I'm still gonna be
Of course.
affected by it.
It's the
Yeah,
dumbest
they're
thing in the
gonna
world.
take the church's property because they found out that they don't own their frontage,
Yeah.
you know, through whatever they did to do that. But I still have such a hard time understanding how they've not done a traffic study to see that there's no reason for a circle anymore.
Yeah.
If Atco Raceway was open, probably.
Maybe.
Probably. I mean, I attended several accidents as a nurse, but you know, now with it being closed, it's just stupid people that drive. It's just the speed limit needs to be lowered on Stokes. I mean,
Yeah,
it says 50, but people do 80. It's like, whoo, did somebody go by?
yeah. And it'll be the same knucklehead that sees how fast they can go around the circle, the ones that are not stopping at the stop sign.
Because, you know, I'm home all day and the trucks that go down this road to turn onto Willow Grove are huge. There will be no way they can go around the circle. They're gonna go up and over.
Okay,
But-
well, we understand exactly your plight. And I hope that those two explanations.
No, that's very helpful.
Some insight.
And I wanted to thank you for referring me to the two attorneys. One told me to go to the county and ask for the Oprah Act. And that's when I found out inevitably that they're really not taking so much of my property, they're taking the church. And knowing them as well, they're very upset about it, but they would be here if it's really a problem, you know? And then the other attorney said he wanted a $30,000 retainer and it's unlikely that he can win. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna raise my rates. Thank you, Judy. We got your back. All right, anybody else in the public have any comment? Please come up because I'm getting ready to close the meeting. Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'd like to thank you all for coming out. It's always a pleasure to see you. And we're gonna have a motion to move into executive session. Executive session is where we go back and talk about a couple of issues that are pending, and you heard the budget is one. If we take any action on the budget, we'll come back out and put it on the record. You don't have to stay, but you're welcome to stay as we'll move in the back room. With that said, can we have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into.
If there's no motion, we don't go.
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Gladys,
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Mr. Diamond.
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Yes.
Mr. Cochi.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Thank you. All right, we're
Back live.
back live on the meeting after our executive session, and we have some action that we're going to take on some issues that we talked about. First one, I guess we'll talk about is the decision on the request for additional funds for the fire department. Doug, you want to talk on that or shall I?
Provide an additional $15,000 for a total of $50,000 for a command vehicle. Because of that, we will not proceed with the budget hearing tonight. We will have to have a special meeting to introduce an amended budget and then come back and have a public hearing at the July 1st meeting. So that will all be advertised in accordance with law, and we'll coordinate further on that tomorrow, but that, unless anybody has anything else to say, that's the number that the governing body is agreeable to.
Understand? It's additional 15,000. If that, you're welcome. If that's gonna be acceptable, we'll go ahead and we'll do all the things that we need to do to advertise it, have a special meeting, and we'll make that happen. If that's not acceptable, tell us now. We'll give you the 35 and we can avoid all this additional work. What's your answer?
Say right now that acceptable by me. We have our meeting Thursday night. We'll talk about it at our company meeting, but I think we'll go ahead and accept that.
When somebody comes to me and says, you want an additional 15 grand, I'm gonna say, yes, sir. All right, thank everybody on the board, and we thank you gentlemen as well for what you do for our town, and we would love to be able to purchase exactly that Escalade that you wanted. But you can see, I mean, we're doing the same thing, and we're getting squeezed left and right, and our taxpayers are, so we appreciate your understanding, and we hope that this will get you over the line. You're welcome, guys.
What's the timing for the special meeting? Can we do it next week?
Why don't we all for tomorrow?
Okay,
Have a chance to look at the requirements and then we'll put an email around and try to set it.
find out availability. Because the other thing is 17th, we could do something here before the land use board, but that starts at 7, so it'd have to be at like a 6:30 meeting.
That's a good day.
Oh, no.
Okay. Do we need to take any other official actions this time?
No.
Okay.
Nothing further from you, Rob? We apologize for keeping you so long, but it's nice to have you.
Correct. Yeah.
So we did that amendment.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I think we gotta come back with a second amendment, and then we do have to come back with a second amendment, yes. With public works or streets and roads that we was affected, it would be affected again. Yeah. Yeah.
Just explain this for our fire department and they'll see the way. Just explain that it's for our fire department and they'll see the light. Okay, anybody have anything else? Doug? Okay, with that, I'll ask for a motion to go home.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
If nobody seconds, we don't go home.
We don't go.
Well, since I made the motion, I'm going home.
We have a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.